Okay guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to do a comparison video between the Ruger Precision Rimfire rifle, which is right here, and the Tikka T1X. Both are in 22 long rifle, and they're both supposed to be target rifles. We're going to discuss some of the differences, which one that I like better, and we'll also discuss the features that each one has, and maybe which one is right for you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. So the Ruger is noticeably a different rifle than the T1X. Mostly because it comes in a AR-ish style chassis from the factory. Ruger has thought out many things for you so you don't have to worry about it. Mainly with this setup, all you have to do is get your scope and scope rings, lock them down, you're good to go. But if you'd like to change things, there are some aftermarket accessories that you can change it out for, like the barrel and the grip. But for the most part, this rifle is what it is. At its heart, it comes in a Ruger American Rimfire barreled action. That barreled action has a heavier 18-inch barrel with a 1/16 twist rate. It's also 1/2 by 28 threaded at the muzzle, and it does have somewhat of a target crown at the end as well. Probably where this rifle shines is the stock. The stock has an adjustable cheek riser as well as length of pull just with the flip of this lever. So you flip this lever up. You can even adjust the friction with this knob here, clockwise to tighten, counterclockwise to loosen. Flip the lever down once you have it where you want, and you're good to go. You can even adjust the butt pad back here if you'd like to do that as well. But I believe it's extra things you will have to do that. Probably taking these screws out, but I've never done that because it's not really that necessary for me. The grip, as we mentioned, is an AR-15 style grip, so you can change that out, even get a more vertical grip if you'd like to. The safety selector, once again, is like the AR-15, fire, safe, so if you're familiar with AR-15, it's really no difference there. The bolt is an oversized bolt knob. You should be able to see that. And we'll do a comparison at the end of just what the differences are between the T1X versus the Ruger. The action isn't extremely smooth, but it's okay for what it is. And to release this bolt, all you have to do is press the raise part right here on this side. You lift the bolt up, and it'll come out just like that. If you want this rifle to mimic your standard rifle, this is kind of like the little brother to the Ruger Precision rifle. If you wanted to mimic that, you just take this clip off right here. All you have to do is basically just get a tool of some sort, like a flathead or something, and you can flip that out.
So actually what I did is I took this knife right here and popped out under this side right here. You just pick it up over the lip. You can do that with any small object like this, and you just flip it up and it works fine. Now we have the longer bolt throw.
The trigger came in at 3.5 pounds, which is not an insanely light trigger for a 22, but it's not overly heavy either. You can adjust that down to 2.25 pounds if you'd like. It's this little tool back here. You flip these little latches on the side like that. You flip that, you pull out each side, and it is a tool in here that fits that trigger adjustment perfectly. The trigger is also a bladed Savage style trigger, which is safe, but some people don't like them. You can change them out for a Timney if you'd like to do that as well. So moving forward, you have a 15-inch M-LOK handguard, which is going to let you put things such as this mag pull bipod. You can put that on there. That's actually a Picatinny style bipod. It actually clamps into the M-LOK and locks down very securely. It does come with a 30 MOA base, so that's a nice feature as well, as you'll be shooting this more than likely at extended ranges beyond 100 yards with this sort of rifle setup. Probably the one con that I have about this rifle, it has so many nice features to it that it's hard to complain, but the magazine, and that's not even a real complaint, because this lever you press, I have to press this lever because it's such a flush fitting magazine that I press it up with my middle finger, press it down with my thumb to get it to release, and it will release this latch. But it fits in securely, and you can change these out for the other BX style magazines that you'd run in a 1022. So all in all, guys, this is a very nice rifle for what you get. And by the way, that is a very reliable magazine. No issues with that. You cannot single feed it like you can with the T1X, but hey, it is what it is. And as we said, overall, this is a very nice rifle. So let's see how this rifle compares to the T1X. So now we have the Tikka T1X, guys. This one's chambered in 22 long rifle. And one thing you'll notice from the beginning is this right here is an add-on, as well as the vertical grip. You might not notice the grip, but you can change that out with one screw. And I did change it out for a more vertical style grip. It's very easy to install, just as the Victor cheek riser is. Both of these together is about $60 extra, and it does improve the stock greatly. This is an injection molded polymer stock. It comes with a plastic butt pad. You don't really need a rubber one back here unless you want to change the length of pull. If you're a taller shooter like myself, then you might have an issue with that. But overall, the grip texture is really nice. It does have a thinner fore-end right here, but that's more like a hunting style stock. It's also free floated, which is a nice design as well for this rifle. It's going to help keep it more consistent. But the barrel to action is actually the T3 design, and it's a 20-inch hybrid barrel of sorts is how Tikka considers it to be. And they say that you can get the same accuracy out of this barrel that you would get from a heavy barrel. So that's good to hear, because it's 5.7 pounds. It's not very heavy for people who are concerned about weight. It's also threaded 1/2 by 28, and it does have an 11-degree target crown. It also has a very nice magazine. As you'll see the little latch right here, you press that back towards the shooter, it pops out. You can probably see it better this way. And it has some grip texturing here that's really nice. It snaps back in very tight, works great, and it's very smooth as well. It's reliable, works, no issues with that. Also, the rear screw is here, the front one is here. This is actually very tight as well into the stock. Normally you would call this bottom metal, but this is actually polymer, so it snaps in here. I mean, it actually snaps in there. It's no wiggle room at all. So that's a 10-round magazine, and the release here for the bolt is right here, just like the Ruger would be. You just press that in and you can release your bolt. The trigger came at about 3.5 pounds. Not a heavy trigger, but still not super light for what you're going to use with the 22. So you can adjust it. It's a screw in here, and I'll try to drop a picture in there where you can see that. So with that screw, you turn it counterclockwise to lighten it up, clockwise to make the trigger heavier. With it coming at about 3.5 pounds, we decided to change it out to about 2.25, 2.5. I did that, and as you'll notice here, put it on safe, no issues. You can actually bring this trigger down to what most guys say, to about 1.5 pounds. It does come with the sling swivel on the front. It comes with the sling swivel on the back. So you can put your bipod on here like a Harris or a Caldwell, whatever you like to use. The base here, that's a DI Products base. That's a 25 MOA base. You'll have to add that on as well. With the DI Products base, all you have to do is slide it into the grooves that's cut into the action. You slide it in, put your screws, Loctite your screws with non-permanent Loctite, drop your screws in, push the base forward because everything wants to move rearward. So you push that base forward, tighten it up 7 to 8 inch-pounds. Be very careful when you tighten these screws because I believe they are aluminum and they will strip. So overall, here is the Tikka T1X, guys. So how do they compare? Well, with the Ruger, you're going to see some differences. Obviously, it's more of an AR type chassis design. So if you like that style, that's really nice. If you don't, if you like the more traditional stock, you might want to go with this one. But one thing I failed to mention earlier is it does have this Picatinny rail cut on the bottom. So if you want to use like a monopod, something like that, you can use that. As you'll probably notice, I have a Magpul bipod up there. That's a Picatinny style, but you can get those M-LOK so they fit right into the handguard, no issue. But with the Picatinny, I don't have any issues with that either. Both are very close in price. The Ruger does come also with the rubberized butt pad. This one does not. For the most part, if you ask me which one, as far as accuracy, the one that I like the most would be the Tikka. The Tikka does tend to shoot most ammunitions better than the Ruger, but once we noticed, we found the SK shot well in both, and I'll try to put some group pictures at the end of just what each rifle did. Also, the Ruger has a shorter barrel, so if velocity is an issue for you, if you want something that's going to have a little more velocity, you might want to lean towards the Tikka. If you want something that you can change out down the road into another completely different looking rifle, you can go with the Tikka as well, because the Tikka's barreled action will fit into a chassis from KRG, or I believe it's the MDT LSS chassis, if I'm not mistaken. That will fit into that as well, and they have specific chassis for this rifle. With the Ruger, you won't be able to change it out into pretty much any other chassis, but you already have most of what you need in this from the factory, so you're going to save money with that. Also, you know, with the Tikka, you don't get the base. With the Ruger, you have that included. That might be something that you're interested in. You have the cheek, you know, the cheek riser, the adjustable cheek riser here. You don't get that with the Tikka. The action of the Ruger is smooth, but not as smooth as the Tikka. The Tikka is just way better when it comes to that. But they're very close, but the Tikka, as I mentioned earlier, will single load. You can single load around if you'd like to do that. The Ruger does come with different magazine options. You can get them all the way up to, I believe it is 10, 15, and 25 round magazines you can put into this. It fits the BX magazine, so that's something that might be important. Both of them are threaded barrels. So not an issue there. You can change the Ruger barrel out for an aftermarket barrel. We may end up doing that just to test how that does. We might change it to the ER Shaw barrel, because I actually have been wanting to do that just to see if the accuracy would be even better. But right now we want to keep this factory so you guys can see the comparison. Also with the Tikka, you can change the barrel out. I think I've seen where you can use like an IBI barrel. But with those 3 screws that's on the bottom, from what guys tell me, they broke bits on these screws. It's going to be very difficult changing that barrel out yourself. Most of the time you're going to want to use a gunsmith. Whereas with the Ruger, you will be able to change that out a lot easier, because it's basically like a standard AR-15 barrel nut. So that's going to be fairly easy. Also, you know, if you like the way that an AR feels with the safety, you have that right here as well, as we went over earlier. But I'm trying to think if I've missed anything. You know, the triggers are very close together. They're very similar as far as, you know, which one's better. Probably the Tikka as far as a more standard feeling trigger. But, I mean, you're not going to be in bad shape with either one. They're both adjustable and they both feel very nice. So really, the stock might be an issue for you with this one, or the lack of aftermarket changes might be an issue with this one. They're both going to be fairly accurate from the factory. I'd say they're both very close. You're splitting hairs when you get down to certain types of ammunition. They're just very close in accuracy. I would still give the edge to the Tikka. And overall standard, like a regular rifle feel, I would give that to the Tikka as well. But all in all, guys, you're not going to be in bad shape with either one of these rifles. They're both very close in price. They're both very nice rifles. So check them both out. Thanks for watching. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. At 300 yards, I'm looking at about 11.5 mils. So let's see what we can do. See if I can adjust the cant. Hopefully it's not wobbling too bad. I'm gonna go for the little target. And that is a hit. Hopefully you guys can see that. This is the rifle that I'm using, which is a Ruger